Welcome back. I want to start off by telling you a story from my own professional career. Back about 10 years ago, I went on a business travel. I had two big bags, well, one big bag and one small laptop bag. This big bag is really a big industrial type of an equipment, and in it were two big computer monitors, about 3 to 4 circuit boards, and about 10 to 11 cables. And I would take these bags, from my home to the airport, and then from airport to the hotel. And this was a business travel in Asia. So from airport in Asia, and then go to the hotel, and then I would open it up and I would check that I didn't destroy any equipment or anything. And then the next morning, I would take these two bags and I would walk them to the subway station. Remember, this is Asia. And go on and travel to the customer site, and then get off the subway. And then I would go to this customer site, and they would make me wait. These are big companies, big electronic companies, and they would make me wait, and I would be happy because by the time I drag this big equipment, I would be sweating, and I'm glad to take a few moments of standing still for a while. And then they would let me in, and I would go into the building, and I would go into the conference room, and I would open the big equipment, and I would set it up, and it takes me about 5 to 6 minutes, and all the time my fingers are shaking a little bit because I was not sure if I had done any damage to this equipment. And then I would connect all the cables, and I would fire up my laptop, and then I would fire up my equipment. And then by the time the customer people will be coming in, and then I would, kind of adjust my tie and then start giving the presentation. And then at the same time, I would give this real live demo of the product that I have it in that equipment box. And I did this for about 3 weeks non-stop. And I went to 4 different countries, and then I visited 26 customers like this over the duration of these 3 weeks. You may ask me why I'm telling you this, and what was the purpose of my visit. I was not there to sell my product. I was not a sales guy, and I was not there trying to convince them to buy the product. I was simply there to ask their opinion about this product prototype. It was not really a finished product, it was a prototype. And so I would, by the way, of all these 26 customers, 26 demos that I gave, only one time it did not fire up. So it's not such a bad equipment after all. But the whole point is this. The whole point is I was there to solicit the customer feedback. I was there to listen, and I was there to understand what they think of my product, and I want them to tell me whether I'm going in the right direction, whether I needed to add some more features, or whether I needed to make some changes to the product direction. And so I would engage them in a very detailed discussion. Customer engineers would come in, they would really take a close look at what I've got in the box. And there is a general, every time I go to a customer like this, there would be a sort of a buzz generator around the equipment and in the conference room, and then based on what I'm saying, what I'm showing. So it was a great experience for me to learn a lot about both the product prototype itself and also what how customers responded to that. And they were quite open after they say this, and they open in giving me their feedback and making sure that I got everything that I was asking them to, as much as they can provide me, and their company allows them to talk about. So in a nutshell, I wanted to drive this point home just to show you that the value of getting customer feedback should never be underestimated. Also, especially when the product is at the definition stage or prototype stage. And so in specific, let's get to specifics. What are the specific advantages of showing the prototype to the customer? Number one, very straightforward. You don't have to guess what their requirement is, customer requirement is. Once you show them what the prototype is looking like, they will immediately start telling you their opinions, and some of them serious, some of them not so serious. But then the whole point is you got them to talk about what their requirement is. And as a result of it, after all that is done, you will come back with what I consider to be gold in your pocket or in your notes. By the way, by the time I was done with this, I had 75 pages full of notes, feedback from these 26 customers, and I was making notes furiously and listening to them. And so this kind of information from the customers directly, in person, it is gold as far as the product manager is concerned. You're never going to get that kind of a real data from real customers looking at your real product prototype, other than just doing it and showing it to them in a real way. And then the third advantage is that you now have a set of customers who can potentially be alpha customers. Remember, in the business plan or business justification one-page summary, you said these are the potential customers or customers with some names and everything when you were in front of the NPRB board. Well, those names come from this exercise. So now you have, out of this, just using my example, out of these 26 customers, and if you do, obviously, my background in the example that I quoted is for a hardware product. If you're an internet company or a social networking mobile, you're talking hundreds of thousands or thousands or more like that, right? But the point is that at the end of the day, you now have a set of alpha customers that are more than willing to take your product out for a test drive once you're ready to offer it to them. So, with that personal example, I hope I gave you an appreciation of how important it is to get the customer feedback. And so what I want to do in the next lecture is I want to actually set a few specific steps that you as a new product manager can take to do exactly this. In fact, if I ask you now a question, okay, so now you're a product manager, you're tasked to do the customer feedback, what will you do? What are the first 1 or 2 steps that you will take up? And if your answer is, well, I'm going to make a list of the customers, and I'm going to either call them up or email them up directly, and then I will say, I have this, I want to talk to you about this. If your answer is that, then it is not exactly the right answer. There is a much more methodical and a better way to approach this, and I will discuss that in the next lecture. Okay, see you in the next lecture. Thank you.